It's the start of the weekend, and I welcome you to Enterprise Weekend today. This is from Enterprise Television, reaching you from the economic capital of Nigeria, Lagos. My name is Henry Igwebike. We'll be starting off with our newspapers, and of course, right after that will be our main conversation. Please do well to be part of what we do. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very honored to have with us, joining us via Zoom, Emeka Amadunago, journalist, public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Emeka.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good morning. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend to you, sir. So let's start off today with the Punch newspaper. And without wasting so much time, let's go to our talking point. Osun local government election confusion reigns as court okays election police withdrawal. And we have a rider here. Stop poll to avert violence. Police wants governor and the government. Emeka, is this another replay of what happened in Rivers State with Semenalaye Fubara?
Well, I think the Nigerian police, they are being clever by half. You know, it's such a very unconscionable thing for the police to say that a democratic process should be halted because they have intelligence. Can you imagine such a shameless word, a shameful word, intelligence, that there will be violence? Is it not their duty to nip any threats of violence in the bud? That's the duty of the police. So if you say you will, okay, and then they went on to say they will not provide cover. Look, let me tell you, Nigerians need to start suing all these democratic institutions, dragging them to court, for failing to, implement the roles assigned to them in the Constitution. The police have no right to say they will not cover an election. They have no right to do that. They have no right to do that. To say because there will be violence. Okay, fine. So that means they are walking away from the violence. It is the same thing they did in Rivers State, where they said, oh, there will be violence, but the election held without them, And so that tells you, the nature of the biased, politicized, and jaundiced Nigerian police under, is a disgrace. It's shameful. Honestly speaking, I never believed in all my life that, we will descend so low into the gutters where the police will just be, at the beck and call of, politicians who have no principle. It's a shame.
But do you think Adeleke has got that gusto, the muzzle, political muzzle that is, like Semenalaye Fubara? Because, of course, everything hauled at Semenalaye Fubara actually didn't penetrate. Do you think Adeleke has got that political muzzle to weather the efforts or whatever it is that will be thrown at him?
Let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you the truth, my brother. Let me just tell you the truth. Local government elections have become, sort of a coronation of chosen candidates. Even if they like, let them not vote. In other states, tell me places where they voted. Do you remember there was a video of local government election in one of the southeast states where one of the people pronounced as chairman was addressing a crowd, and he said, "Thank you for electing me." And the women were saying in Igbo, "We didn't vote in any local government election. We were not allowed to vote. Who voted for you?" You understand? They were saying it to him directly. So let me tell you something. Whether the police like or let them be part of it. Look, if people even cast ballots, they should thank God. Because let me tell you, the choice candidates of the PDP are already pronounced elected. That is the sham, that local government elections have been reduced to in Nigeria. So let me tell you, by tomorrow, they will be announced and sworn in, and they will take over the secretariats by Monday. I have said it before. The fact that the APC, is relying on the appeal court judgment, nullifying the judgment of the High Court, fine, doesn't mean that, the court made a declarative APC, that the APC local government chairman should go back to office. Two, there was no declarative pronouncement that their tenure would, by that fact, be extended. There was nothing said about that. So how come the Attorney General referendum? Where did he find that luxury, of donating extra months to the local government chairman by saying that their tenure will expire in October? Where did he find that luxury? Under what law? It's only the court that can pronounce, and two, is the court that can enforce its judgment. You don't engage in self-help. You are just, a litigant. So as a litigant, you do not take the laws into your hands, because that will amount to, a criminal subversion of the due process of the rule of law. What you do is that you go back to the court to say, to ask the court to implement, to enforce its judgment. And the court has bailiffs, who are constitutionally empowered to play that role. But what did we see? We saw APC telling its people, go and resume. In the process, one of them, the chairman of one of the local government, I think he killed a local government, he was shot dead. We don't know whether it was by PDP or whether it was by his own people. We don't know. Why? And then 5 other people, members of PDP, were said to have been gunned down. Why should we have such a thing? We are not in a democracy. What is all this? Why do you want to take the laws into your hands? And the Supreme Court is the final arbiter in many cases in this country. So why have they not waited to exhaust the process of adjudication at the Supreme Court? They are only relying on what was said by the appeal court. If you are not satisfied with it, then go to the Supreme Court. But where you have two judgments, the High Court judgment nullifying the election of local government chairman, and then you have the appeal court saying that no, the High Court should not have nullified the election. Which one do you take? It's only the Supreme Court that can that can pronounce on what they said. So on what both the High Court, the Federal High Court, and the appeal court said. So let me tell you, those local government chairmen are as good as having been elected already.
It's actually very so unfortunate, of course, which means that we might...
it's a coronation.
Yeah,
it's a coronation.
It's a coronation, rather than the democratic process that it should be, literally. As much as we blame the system itself, and equally the authority, both INEC, the police force, and the federal government equally are not helping matters. But let's get to Weekend Trust newspaper. And I can speak to us on the census. How many are we? That's the question. 19 years after census preparation guzzled 291 billion naira, and it says here 1.9 trillion needed to complete exercise of counting me and you and many others, of course, to get to know how many really we are in the country. Does it still make any sense that there should be census in Nigeria when, of course, it doesn't, the data doesn't even mean anything to the government of the day?
You said it all. Data doesn't mean anything to the government. So whatever census they are planning to conduct is just for political advantage. It's not for any other thing. And of course you and I have heard about how all the shenanigans they've been planning towards the 2027 election, to reduce the count in some areas and to increase the count in other areas, which was what the British instituted in Nigeria, with the first census. So all of this, it just shows us that we are not ready to move forward as a country. Chief Festus Odumegwu, who was the chairman of the National Population Commission under former President Goodluck Jonathan, he was forced out of office because he said they were going to use the scientific method to organize the census. Now, why? Because anything headed by an Igbo man in Nigeria, is viewed with suspicion by people with vested interest of capturing political power, and which is very sad, because a northerner, nobody would have said that he should be removed, and so of course we know it was a northerner who went and put President Goodluck Jonathan under pressure to remove Chief Odumegwu. But I tell you, it was I wish Jonathan had played his politics differently. I mean, he should have called his bluff and told him, "I'm going ahead with the census," But Of course, sometimes when you give people, more than that due, that's what you see, All right. So how do we now achieve a sense of you spend over 200 billion naira on, sense anyway, you still need 1.something trillion on an exercise that will not 2006. I remember the Lagos State government, also hired people to go around with the census officials to say, okay, to monitor the counting. Let Lagos State government bring out the figures it got from that exercise. Because they came to my office at that time. They came to my office. They counted us. Let them bring out the figures. Let them release the figures. We're just not sincere in this country. That's the truth. And as long as we continue to deceive ourselves, that's why we'll continue. We will not know any. We'll continue to have a counting problem.
Very, very true.
We don't know how many we are. We don't know how many barrels of crude we produce. We don't know anything. We have the NIN. Nigeria, I think, is the only large country where all the processes of BVN is not aligned with driver's license, is not aligned with voter's card, it's not aligned with anything, it's not aligned with anything. Your international passport is not aligned with anything. And it's not like that in developed countries. I mean, we need to have everything go.
Well, very, very true. Emeka, speak to us on the Guardian newspaper. We have a taming the menace of frequent fuel tanker accident and explosions. The federal government said from March 1, 2025, that they were going to ban 60,000 liters of tankers that carry PMS around the country and allow for only 45,000 tankers, that 45,000 liters of tankers that will be doing the job. Is that the best way to go about a solution to the problem that we have?
That's part of it. Our highways are not built to carry super tankers. Those 60,000 axle load, those 60,000 tons axle load, actually damaging our highways. Before you know what's happening now, people will bring in 100,000 tons, 200,000 tons to run on which road. So that is where the problem is. We had way bridges in the 70s. What happened to them? What happened to them? Sometimes we see the kind of loads that being carried by those low beds on our highways. You just wonder. That is why roads cannot last up to 10 years in Nigeria. Every administration will tell you we are doing roads, but when they leave, you will just see huge craters on the roads. Which roads were they doing? So we have to just be realistic with ourselves. Our roads are not built for such. And honestly speaking, why don't we transfer that? People are saying, no, it will cost fuel scarcity. We have the opportunity of rail. Why not build, double gauge rail lines that can carry petrol even faster? If you build a double gauge rail line from Lagos to the southeast and the south, it's something that can take, hundreds of thousands of tonnage of petroleum products, and within a few hours you would have delivered. So why do we now have to keep just keep deceiving ourselves? It's sad. It's really sad.
Very, very true. Truly.
So they should be banned. It should be banned. I support that ban. They should be banned.
And you think that would not cause scarcity? Because we know that our government are very quick at spontaneous policies without providing measures to cushion the effect when it does happen.
Let me tell you something. Forget all this scaremongering that you cause scarcity. How many filling stations in this country do you see more than 20 vehicles at the time? How many? Just do a census, do a count. Use Lagos Ibadan Expressway as an example. And tell me how many filling stations you will see up to 20 vehicles at a given point in time. How many? How will you force scarcity? what is the tank capacity of the average vehicle in Nigeria? Is it not 100 liters? 100 liters. And then how many people buy up to 100 liters? How many people buy full tank? You know, the highest number of vehicles you find on our roads are commuter buses. You know, both intra-city and interstate. You know, how many of them have you ever seen? How many of them do you see buy full tank? How many? So the thing is this: when it comes to this thing, should be driven by data. You know, because if we have tankers that carry 45,000 liters, what's the difference with 15,000 liters that we need to damage our roads because we want to just keep something that is hurting us just because we want to please some interest, vested interest? Then we leave those things, to just keep destroying our roads. No, it won't cause any fuel scarcity. Let's not mind all those things. It won't cause any fuel scarcity. If we are talking about tonnage, okay, fine. We look at, let's even assume, without conceding, that the average tank capacity is 100 liters. Of course, how many vehicles would that be? 45,000 liters. How many vehicles would that be? That would just be 450 vehicles. That would just be 450 vehicles. So, and how many filling stations can one tanker supply? So if it is the 60,000 liters, how many? That's 600 vehicles. Now tell me, how many filling stations can take care of 600 vehicles? Over how many days? These things are there now. How many tankers load that, whether Dangote or Apapa Port? How many tankers? So, the government should go ahead with that ban, please, and save our roads from further destruction.
Very, very true. Emeka, we just have to let it slide for now, and just to let you know, Emeka Madunagu will be here to take us on our main conversation for today. And when we return, IBB reveals Maman Vatsa's plot, sacrificing childhood friendship for a nation's stability. We'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere.